Gather round, folks, and I'll tell you a tale of a guy and a couple of his friends that had an idea. An idea for a TV show about comics back in the infancy of YouTube and our halcyon days of youth. We called it last Wednesday, and we talked about comics, news, and reviews. This was long before monetization was a thing. I mean, hell, this was long before there were ads on YouTube. Yeah, YouTube used to be ad-free. We did it all for fun. Well, I did anyway. But that's a story for a different time. On occasion, we'd make it to a convention and talk to some of the creatives that made the books we loved. This is how I made friends with and got to interview some of my favorite people in comics. Speaking of which, prepare for incoming time capsule in 3, 2, 1.
He's here. He just went upstairs to go get a program.
Okay. I'll save it. I think I brought. I have some. I brought it.
Oh, yeah. I see it all the time. Get a movie.
You know you want it, so get it.
It's all taped on.
Okay.
Oh, when he was drawing.
I'm good. We're fine.
Down there. They continue to screw it up. Geez, Phantom Stranger maybe? Honestly, with the super jocks, I got nothing left to say. I mean...
I am here at Comic-Con International, and we are about to talk to somebody about the Doomsday Superman movie. Now, what's your name, ma'am?
My name is Andrea Romano, and I am the casting and voice director for the project.
Excellent. And how did you get into that?
I used to be an actress 1,000 years ago, and then I became an agent, a voiceover agent. I represented people who did voices for animation.
Excellent.
And then with my work with Hanna-Barbera, because my clients would do work at Hanna-Barbera, they would, I would talk with the casting director there very often, and then she decided to move on and called me and said, do you want to maybe come interview for the job of casting director at Hanna-Barbera? Which was about the coolest gig on the planet.
I would say so.
And so I did that for about 5.5 years, and then started directing with Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain and Tiny Toons and all those shows, and then the Batman and Superman and Justice League and all those shows.
Ma'am, you shaped my childhood.
Warped it, perhaps?
Well, perhaps. The Animaniacs, I love. Pinky and the Brain, I love.
Great.
Tiny Toons, I love.
Me too.
And of course, Batman the Animated Series. So, how did you come about picking Adam Baldwin for Superman? How did that come about?
I certainly knew his on-camera work for years, and I had worked with him on many different series in the past.
Really? Like
what? He would come do a guest star on Justice League or something else, and maybe a Batman episode. And you know, frankly, I've done a lot of work, and I forget exactly which projects which actor worked on. So, and then when we had this project, and Bruce Timm and I were both fans of his work, and we thought, you know, who'd be really good as this role? He was really our top choice, pretty much from the get-go.
Excellent.
So we were happy to get him, and he did a terrific job. I thought.
I'm sure he did a great job on Firefly.
Wasn't he great on that show? What a great show that is.
Really?
I got to work with many of the actors from that series.
Really?
Marina Baccarin and Nathan Fillion, who was terrific. They all worked on Justice League with me.
Really?
Yeah, they're terrific.
A little tidbit we didn't know before. So what is your next project after this one?
I'm actually working on a bunch of different projects right now. I do Avatar for Nickelodeon.
Excellent.
A new series called El Tigre.
Haven't heard that one yet.
And as of last October, I started directing SpongeBob SquarePants, which has been tremendous fun. And I do The Boondocks for Sony.
Very good.
And I'm also doing Ben 10 for Cartoon Network, where I work with Glenn Murakami, who did Teen Titans. We did Teen Titans together.
Excellent.
So it kind of stays in the family. You know, we all kind of move into little different areas, but we just keep working with each other.
Well, that's because you guys work well together.
We do.
So what's the favorite project that you've worked on so far?
Ever?
Yeah, ever so far.
I have a very, very soft spot for Pinky and the Brain.
Ah,
it still makes me
high
laugh.
five. High five.
It still makes me laugh when I watch them today, and I watch them today.
Gee, Brian, what do you want to do tonight?
Yep.
Yes, it's a great show.
Yep.
I was going to say something else, and I completely forgot.
That's all right.
Yes. I know what I was going to say.
Okay.
What project would you like to work on? Like a dream project? Anything that you would like to work on that you haven't done yet?
Do you know, I'm living my dream. I am living my dream.
That's awesome.
I really am. I'm fortunate that I get to do so much work with actors that I've admired for so long, work in animation, which has been my passion since I was old enough to actually turn on the TV myself.
Yes.
And so I don't have any massive longing desire that, and it's not to say that I'm completely fulfilled, because I still have a lot that I want to do. I'm not done yet.
Exactly.
But
I would hope not.
But it's all a beautiful thing. I love my job. I have the best job in the world, and I love it.
That is the best answer I've ever heard to that question.
Thank you very
Another
much.
high five.
Thank you.
Well, I think that's all the questions I have for you. It was
Very good.
wonderful talking to you.
Thank you, and you too.
I hope that you enjoy the rest of your con
And
experience.
you too.
How many Comic-Cons have you been to?
This is my third.
This is your third? This
Yeah.
is our first, so we're very excited.
Oh, enjoy yourself. Isn't it crazy?
Insane.
And this is only the first day.
People told me stories.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't sure if I actually fully grasp it. Now that I see it, this is a completely different beast than anything I've ever been to.
And it's going to get more intense.
Oh, I can't wait
We're
to
not
see.
done
I
yet.
can't wait to see Saturday. Well, I'm Luke for Last Wednesday. This is Andrea, the casting director for Superman Doomsday, and we're at Comic-Con 2007 International. Please stay with us. This is Luke, and we're still here at Comic-Con International. Now, I'm about to talk to the man who is responsible for bringing the story of the death of Superman, or Doomsday Superman, to life. And what is your name, sir?
I like the double entendre there. I am Duane Capizzi. I am the screenwriter of Superman Doomsday, and I co-authored this story with Bruce Timm, which is, of course, an adaptation of the death of Superman.
Excellent. Did you take many visual cues from the actual book that the story is taken from, like the actual death of Superman story arc?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
I think just about every single truly iconic moment is dealt with. You know, the Superman's cape on the stick flapping in the wind, and you know, him dying in Lois's arms, and all the Doomsday stuff, certainly. But there were also some liberties we had to take. You know, we had 78 minutes to fit in, 3 phone book sized volumes.
Yes.
So we had to make some hard choices. But I think most importantly, we just didn't want to see how much we could cram in. We really took a go with the spirit of the thing approach, and while honoring the symphonic structure of the books, true to the feeling and the epic nature of it. I think there are a lot of surprises in the film too.
Excellent. It's always nice to get some more surprises from a story that you think you know.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, are we going to see any cameo appearances by characters like, say, Batman or Booster Gold, or have that emotional impact when Superman finally does die that the comic showed it had on all the other characters?
We chose, and when I say we, by the way, I mean Bruce Timm and I. Bruce Timm felt strongly that the movie needed to stand alone, and it's a movie that is meant to appeal both to comic book fans and a broader audience as well. But we didn't want to feel like an audience, who's the guy with the red suit? It's Flash or whatever. So no. However, though, interesting that you use the word cameo. Nobody's mentioned that before, and I will say that there is one cameo in the movie that is it's pretty wild, and the fans will pick up on it and have fun.
I can already tell it's a good cameo. Look at the grin on your face. Well, look at him cheesing out.
I never thought to mention it to anybody, and but I was like, oh yeah, that's in there.
Excellent.
It was something that Bruce actually just insisted on. It's like, we got to get this in here. So.
Excellent. So, what else have you written? What else?
You'll know what it is when you see it, by the way. So,
what else have you written? Whether screenplays or what else do you do?
Mostly I've done a lot of you're going to edit, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah. We'll make you look great. Don't worry.
Yes.
I mean, if he can make me and my co-host look great, you're golden.
Well, mostly I've done a lot of TV animation. I've done some comedy, mostly action adventure. Some of my past shows have been Jackie Chan Adventures,
great
The Big
show.
Guy and Rusty the Boy Robot.
Oh, yes.
And Men in Black, the animated series.
Great series.
For Warner Brothers and DC, I did the Batman. I had
yes.
the unenviable task of following in Bruce Timm's footsteps and having the shadow of that great monolith of a show.
The shadow of the bat, if you will.
Yes, and from there, I did the Batman vs. Dracula, the fan favorite Brainiac Attacks.
Ah, yes.
And of course, Superman Doomsday now. And I'm currently working on a new DC Universe property that it's a little bit too early to talk about. But
Understandable.
yeah, but I'm very excited about it.
Do you think we're going to see a full-length Justice League animated movie? I mean, I know that they had the Justice League Unlimited TV series, but will we see it like a feature-length series or TV or movie?
Well, you know, the follow-up to Doomsday is The New Frontier.
Ah, very cool.
I think my guess is that that's our Justice League movie for a while. And by the way, I had nothing to do with it, but I think it's a brilliant choice. It's a great book. Darwin Cook is amazing.
Yes.
And it's sort of like, you know, gosh, after that many episodes of Justice League and JLU, so much of it has been done, and that series was so epic, you know, and all the two-parters. It's like the idea of taking a great recent book. I mean, to me, New Frontier is an instant classic, and going, you know what, we're going to do Justice League through this lens.
Excellent.
So, you know, I would imagine somewhere down the road, but ultimately that's not my choice.
Excellent. And do you currently read comics right now?
You know, I try to read. I try to keep up with current comics. Usually it's word of mouth that gets to me, like, oh, you got to read so-and-so. You know, I'm old school. I love the comics I read in my youth. I'm a big Silver Age and Bronze Age guy. And,
Excellent.
You know, I find myself revisiting a lot of that stuff constantly. So, the classics.
Excellent. Is there any recent story arc that you've read that maybe caught your fancy, like DC's 52 or Countdown or Marvel's Civil War?
Yeah, you know what? I think, honestly, coincidentally, All-Star Superman I've really been enjoying. So
Grant Morrison's amazing.
Yeah, I know. It's just so, you know, he's such an auteur, you know, and hey, the art's great too. So.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Quietly, that's for sure. I've been really enjoying the All-Star Batman and Robin. I mean, Frank Miller, Jim Lee.
Yep.
So any chance you think you might get Frank Miller to come in and help you guys out with a Dark Knight animated movie? Because that would be a personal dream come true for me.
You know what? That would be awesome. And,
Wouldn't it?
You know, I'm sure there's been talk because, you know, they've been looking at all the big books and what we can possibly adapt. And, yeah, I would love it. And in fact, you know, with the agenda of doing a PG-13 Superman, you know, Bruce and I were kind of like, yeah, the death of Superman is about as dark as Superman gets, but it didn't naturally lend itself. So, like, why aren't we doing the Dark Knight? So, you know,
you would make this fan extremely happy if
I'm
you
sure
did.
Make a lot of people happy.
You know, they did a little snippet of it, the fight in the mud hole, in an episode of the Batman animated series where these kids were telling these different legends about Batman. Did you see that one?
Yeah, I was I consulted on that season.
Excellent,
so, yep.
excellent. That was one of my favorite episodes of that series.
That was awesome.
So if they can do that little snippet, I think they can do a full-length movie.
I think so too.
Excellent. Well, those are all the questions I have for you. Thank you very much for your time.
You're very welcome.
I appreciate it. Go see Superman Doomsday when it comes out. I know you're going to enjoy it. I know I will. And hopefully we'll see more of these movies coming out from DC and Warner Brothers. Once again, I'm Luke, and we're at Comic-Con International. Please stay tuned.